about the core principles of regiment. We talked about revival and looked at Ezra. We talked about service and looked at Zerubbabel. Tonight we talk about leadership and leading and just lead. And we're looking at our role model of Nehemiah and going over again some of these principles. He's just a great example of a builder and a governor, of a leader. So 7 traits. Trait 1, Nehemiah didn't ignore glaring problems that others avoid. Nehemiah sees the walls torn down. Nobody's done anything about it for years. What's the deal? We get so used to problems that we don't even see them. You, as a leader, as a person in Vanguard, need to be able to see problems that other people ignore and do something about it. That's important in our day and age. Nehemiah didn't ignore glaring problems that others avoid. Trait 2, Nehemiah cared about the problem. He prayed about the problem, then acted to fix the problem. A lot of people talk about the problem, but do they ever pray about it? And some people pray about it, but then do they ever do anything? Do they ever act? See, prayer and intercession, a lot of times the prayer of intercession still requires some sort of action to follow. So Nehemiah didn't just care about the problem, didn't just notice the problem, didn't just point out the problem. He prayed about it, and then he acted to fix the problem. And you, as members of Vanguard, aren't just called to notice problems. You're called to care where others don't care. But you're called to pray when others don't pray, and you're called to act when others don't act. Nehemiah did all 3 of those things. Trait number 3, Nehemiah served with the team. He led for the team and encouraged teamwork in others. Nehemiah worked with a team. He was a team player. He was a leader. He would lead. He was a servant leader. He encouraged teamwork. There were times when the guys needed rallied and say, hey, come on, guys, let's get this done. Let's get together. There were times when there was strife. He said, let's put that aside. Let's build this wall. That's important. Trait number 4, Nehemiah protected his team from scornful people and scornful attitudes. That was a need that he had. There were problems. There were criticizers. There were people that were mocking them. He protected his people from the Sanballats and Tobias. You want to make sure that as we accomplish our goals, to not be the poo-poo person, to not be the, we can't do that, or that's too hard, or I don't like that, I want to do that. Don't be that person, because that kills the effectiveness of a team when you have captain negative. So don't be that person. And if there's a scorner, there's a mocker, don't tolerate that attitude. Don't let a poisonous bad attitude get in. Nehemiah protected his team from scornful people and scornful attitudes. That's going to happen. There's going to be scorners. Just make sure that you don't have that problem and that you're not tolerating or encouraging that problem in others, because that brings the whole team down. Trait number 5, Nehemiah was good at organization. You have to be organized for him to build that wall. He's like, okay, you're working on this gate. You guys are working on this gate. He was organized. Organization's important. We want to learn organization skills here. Trait number 6, Nehemiah worked harder when opposition got greater. He had so many problems thrown at him, and he's just like, all right, we're gonna work with a sword in one hand and a tool in the other, but we're gonna keep working. And he said, we're gonna set somebody a watch on the wall. He would not get off working on that wall for anything. He just worked harder when opposition got greater. Sometimes that's what you got to do. It's hard. Oh, work harder. That's what you got to do. That's what Nehemiah did. The opposition's great. Okay, be greater than the opposition. Get the job done. Push harder. Trait number 7, Nehemiah was an excellent leadership delegator. He not only was a good governor, but he many times would appoint people to different positions because he was able to see the grace in other people and say, hey, you do this over here. Hey, let's get these people off the wall, or let's get these people out of this role because they're doing a bad job. They're in sin. They're messed up. Let's get these people in. And there was a lot of times he was shuffling the people of Israel around. He was a good leader. He was a good delegator. He would see potential in others, and he put them in positions of leadership. He recognized and elevated character and skill, particularly character, but he was a good delegator, and he could develop leaders in others, and that's an important trait. And that's what you need to be thinking, not just like someone's leading me, but you're leading others, and you should make leaders after you. So